it has more than one solution. We are trying to isolate the x. We are trying to get the answer x on one side. If you take any number x and you multiply by 5, subtract 7, if that answer is less than -1, that is a solution for this inequality. This inequality has an infinite amount of answers. Recopy the problem, leave a little space. But by now, we know that in that little space, we do the opposite of subtract 7, which is to add 7 in the inequality symbol. Now I added 7 on the left-hand side, so I'm going to add 7 on the right-hand side. Now I'm going to start solving. If I solve my left-hand side, I'm going to end up with 5x plus 0. A -7 plus 7 is 0. Then from this line, 5x plus 0 is 5x, 5 times x. A letter next to a number means to multiply. Do you want, we can go ahead and type in the symbol separately. So we can type in a less than right here. We can type in a less than right here. And the next part, we're going to solve this right-hand side. This is the most missed part. -1 plus 7 is a positive 6. And then we're just going to retype that positive 6 down in line number 4. So just to review, we rewrote the problem. 5x minus 7 is equal to -1. And then we added 7 to both sides. When we added 7 to the left-hand side, we ended up with 5x. When we added 7 to the right-hand side, we ended up with 6. Now we're setting up to do our second step. Since this side with the letter means to multiply, 5 times x, a letter next to a number means to multiply, we're going to divide. This line means to divide. We're going to divide the left side by 5, and we're going to divide the right side by 5. It all has to make sense mathematically. So I'm going to put division by 5. Then I'm going to divide the right side by 5. Get used to using your texting tools up here. Again, keep in mind that this one is the selector tool. This is how you select items and you can move them around. Showing you 5 divided by 5 is what? 1. Any number divided by itself is 1. But we still have the x. Now we're going to type in less than. And we have to figure out what 6 divided by 5 is. On the state test, you will not be allowed a calculator, so we're going to take 6 top in, bottom out. So we have 6 and we're making groups of 5. I can make one group of 5. I subtract. I get a 1. But remember, we're not finished. We can put a decimal behind the 6. And we can continue putting zeros. 6.00 is the same thing as 6. So I'm going to bring down this 0. Now I have 10. How many groups of 5 can I make with 10? 2. But we need to make sure that we bring up the decimal. So 6 divided by 5 is 1.2. I'm going to use my text tool, and I'm going to type in 1.2. We do not necessarily know if 1.2 is a solution. X is less than 1.2. You don't need to show this. You can do that on your own paper. So this is the work I want to see. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and the answer is line 6. This is our boundary point. So we're going to take that boundary point and we're going to type that boundary point on the number line, 1.2. We will also type the opposite of that boundary point, which is negative opposite. So you're going to put one of these two circles on that boundary point. If there is no equal sign, it will not be filled in. So you will use the unshaded circle. That means that 1.2 is not a solution. But anything less than is. I'm going to grab this arrow. Now, yes, the arrow is going in the wrong way. But if you click on it, you can turn it. So if you click on your arrow, you will be able to turn it. And then we can put it on the number line. And what this means is that x is less than 1.2. This is the number 1.2. It does not include the 1.2, so the 1.2 is not shaded. This arrow means it keeps going on forever in that direction. So negative 100 is a solution. Negative 5,000 is a solution. All of these numbers that are less than 1.2, not including 1.2. Now we're going to check our answer. So we have an answer. Our answer is x is less than 1.2. We also have an answer graphed. Both of these mean the same thing, but we're going to check our work. So now we're going to check our work. So we're going to substitute or replace 1.2 in the place of x. Use your typing tool, and we're going to type 5. Now we're going to type a parenthesis. A letter next to a number means to multiply. A parenthesis next to a number means to multiply. So we're going to type in 5 times 1.2 in parentheses. Don't put another x here for multiplication because that looks like the variable x. So a letter next to a number means to multiply. A number next to a parenthesis means to multiply. Bring down the minus 7. Now we need to solve the 1.2 times 5 first. So 1.2 times 5, and you can do this on your paper, is 60. But then we have one digit behind the decimal point, so we move the decimal point one space. So 1.2 times 5 is not 60, it's 6 because of the movement of the decimal point. Now underneath that, we're going to type 6, and then we're going to bring down the minus 7. Now we need to calculate 6 minus 7. If you have 6 and you take away 7, you're going to be at negative 1. Now the whole idea was to get an answer on the left-hand side that equals the right-hand side. In an equation, they have to equal. Now you might say, well, this symbol says less than, but remember, all we're doing here is we're checking the number. In order to get this right, the number has to equal. That is our boundary point. Now, does 1.2 equal our answer? No, but that is our boundary point. Our boundary point is 1.2. So one more time, when you fill in your number part here, that's called your boundary point. When you place it in the place of the variable and you solve the left-hand side, if it equals the right-hand side, you have the correct boundary point. This is the boundary point. 1.2 is not equal to x, but anything less than that is. It has many, many answers. So this one checks out, and you just leave it like that. Now we're going to check the inequality symbol. So we're checking the symbol. Is that inequality symbol correct? The first thing you have to do is come over here and you have to retype your answer. X is less than 1.2. Again, I hope you understand that you can use any number, but 0 is always the easiest one. So I'm going to use 0. I'm going to show you why 0 is easier. Because when you have the original problem and you take 5 times 0 minus 7, 5 times 0 is 0. And then 0 minus 7, hopefully we can see, is negative 7. So when we substituted 0 and we're checking to see if 0 is a solution, when I plugged in 0 for x, I got negative 7 on the left-hand side. Now is negative 7 less than negative 1? That negative 7 is less than negative 1. Is a solution down here. Now I want to see all of these steps to be shown. I thought it was simpler, but because of the low grades last week, I'm going to want to see all the steps. This is a true statement, therefore 0 is a solution to the original problem. So this was the original problem we started out with, and we put 0 in the place of x, and we found out that 0 is a solution. Now I want you to check your number line. Is 0 filled in, or is 0 shaded? Yes, because this arrow means it keeps going on. That tells me that 0 is a solution. So I want you to drag one of these, whichever one it is. In this case, it is a solution. And I want you to put it right here by the 0. 0 is a solution. Since many of you were struggling last week, I'm going to have you write it out. I want you to type in 0 in the place of x is less than 1.2. Is this a true statement? Is 0 less than 1.2? Yes. So we're going to put down here 0 is a solution. So that is our check. Since we got 0 as a solution in the graph, we have 0 as a solution in the original problem, and we have 0 as a solution in your answer, it means that it is correct. You first have to check the number. We have to get the boundary point correct first. If the boundary point is wrong, we may be wrong on the inequality symbol.